Chicago, I love you. Let me tell you something. I've almost, honestly, I almost named a playlist on my channel. Chicago. I have never been more disgusted and happy at the same time to have such an algorithm that pops up and people that send me content on a regular basis of what is going on in Chicago. DJ Academics did it. Why can't I do it too? DJ Academics' popularity, they say, I don't know. I think that he's a good content creator. DJ Academics' popularity skyrocketed. Shout out to Enforcer 2K9. I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. DJ Academics' popularity, they say, came from him reporting on Chirac. Now, people are mad at that. And they said, we don't like the fact that you came up off of reporting all of this bad stuff that was happening in the drill music and the people that was doing some of the worst crimes over there on the south side of Chicago. How can you get mad at DJ Academics for highlighting what was going on? He didn't create it. He just reported on it. Shout out to Samuel Silver. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. He didn't create it. He just reported on it. Listen, if you want people to change what's going on as far as what they're reporting in your city, then change your behavior. Give them nothing to report on. Give them nothing to report on. If you don't like the way that somebody is highlighting some of the bad things that's happening in your city, then first, I ain't worried about what somebody say about me because it can't be true if they report negatively on it because we on top of our game and we taking care of business. Let me bring you back to what it is that we discussed a long time ago. This was reported about a month ago because I got to jog your memory. Sometimes you forget. A lot of times we got new people over here. Shout out to all the new people in here. We got over 1,800 and counting. Shout out to my people. Sometimes y'all forget about what it is that we communicated over a month ago. But we were reporting on Chi-Town and what's going on over there for practically the whole year, right? We've been reporting on Chi-Town for the whole year. So this is what Mayor Brandon Johnson, with the spiky hair, shout out to Mayor Brandon Johnson. You have been a gold mine over here at the Millionaire Morning Show.
Mayor Johnson's proposal would address the overcrowding at Chicago Police District stations. In an interview with the Sun-Times, Johnson declines to give specifics. When would this happen? Where would these tent cities be located? How much would this plan cost? We have learned the mayor will meet with aldermen this afternoon to brief them on his plan. This is what the mayor said earlier this morning.
Now remember, this is reported over a month ago when it was still decent outside. They had 20-something buses pulling up to Chicago. They had 18, 16, 15, 14 buses a day, bringing in 192,000, over 200,000 migrants, and they said that we're going to build a tent city. I'm jogging your memory before I bring you up to date on what's going on currently.
We've identified multiple locations around the city that can be suitable to treat the families and individuals who by law are seeking asylum constitutionally and legally, to have a place that recognizes their dignity.
The mayor proposes moving 1,600 migrants living in police district stations. They would live in what he describes as winterized base camps that would be set up across the city.
Most of them are likely here.
BIFM. Send that to me in my email. BIFM, send that to me in my email.
Here to stay, they will be our neighbors, and their kids will likely be future leaders of the city of Chicago. So how we treat them, they will remember that.
Juan Carlos Lena.
Did you hear what he just said? Shout out to Samuel Silver. I appreciate you. Let me replay that one more time. I'm going to replay that part one more time because I want y'all to understand what's going on.
And their kids will likely be future leaders of the city of Chicago.
These migrants who sought asylum received it as being treated better than the citizens that pay the taxes that you are then funding are going to be your leaders. These people are going to be your leaders. This is, listen, this is not my words. I'm sharing with you some of the things that then go under the radar because I know that y'all be busy. I know that you work and I know that you're taking care of kids. And so when Anton get an opportunity to be able to get your ear for a little bit, let me make sure that I give you the information so that you can then mine it out, do with it what you will, and then make sure that you hold the accompanying parties accountable for what it is that they're doing inside of your establishments. These people are going to be your future leaders. This is what's being communicated to you. I'm just sharing the information. Let's continue.
So how we treat them, they will remember that.
So you better treat them good. You better treat them good. You better make sure that you allocate your money because they're going to be determining what schools your kids go to. They're going to be determining your property taxes, the infrastructure updates. They're going to be your future mayors, aldermen. They probably going to get elected to the House of Representatives. They're going to be Congress members. They're going to be determining your budget. And so you better make sure that you get your life together because they're going to be your future leaders, boy.
Linares is a member of the Illinois Latino Agenda, which met with Mayor Johnson this week about the crisis. He says there is no perfect solution, and this will be a work in progress. While he, too, has many questions, he does believe it is a better alternative to sleeping on police station floors.
And I feel confident that come the winter time, we're going to not just be addressing the solution through the solution the mayor put out last night, but adding to those solutions as well. There's no one fix to this, as you know, Judy. And so we're going to be having to work with this as new arrivals come to us in large numbers.
Mayor Johnson tells the Sun-Times the massive military-grade tents would house up to 1,000 migrants, and the city has identified suitable locations for them. Migrants would be provided meals, have access to educational and recreational programming. 13,500 asylum seekers have been bused to Chicago in the last year, most of them from Texas. Besides police stations, they are living in shelters and at O'Hare. The crisis is already costing the city $30 million a month. The city had planned to move migrants into a Greektown hostel today, but postponed it until next Friday. The city is also considering leasing a 5-story building on North Ogden and West Fulton Market to house migrant families.
Now, I just wanted to make sure that I brought y'all up to speed on what's going on. So over 2,000 people in here. The likes is a little bit low. The shares are a little bit low. Make sure that we sharing this with our friends and family in order to be able to get this information, all right? It always comes down to the money. Now, remember, back then it was costing the city. Back then they ain't know me. Now everybody all on me. Back then it was costing the city over $30 million a month and growing. And buses are still arriving every day. Now, this is not what we want to talk about specifically. I just wanted to make sure that I brought y'all back up to speed because we've been leaving Chicago outside of the news for a little bit in order to address some other things. But I wanted to make sure that we brought this back up and we brought these people back to the front of the congregation. Now, this is what was being reported as of this morning, ladies and gentlemen. All right? You ready? It's cold in Chicago.
Really, what we're concerned about is people who are exposed to the elements, especially, 24/7, sleeping outdoors.
We have reached a critical point in our city's migrant situation. Cold weather and snow have arrived.
Shout out to Juan Hudson. I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. I appreciate you for supporting the platform, big dog. Everybody that supports the platform, I don't ask for it. I just make sure that I acknowledge the people because you guys are absolutely awesome.
More than 3,000 new arrivals still don't have a roof over their heads. Casey Cronus is on the near north side with the latest.
Warming buses are parked outside of 21 police districts across the city tonight, including here at District 18, where migrant families are still sleeping in tents on the cold and wet concrete. Despite the smiles and snowballs that came with experiencing flurries for the first time, a pressing situation is becoming more urgent by the day and by the degree.
Even at 50 degrees Fahrenheit, you can develop hypothermia with prolonged exposure or with wet clothing.
About 2 weeks ago, Beth Amadio, president and CEO of One Warm Coat, was contacted by the city.
We have been told that some of the migrant families are getting off of the bus with their feet still wet.
Her organization is one of several that officials are partnering with.
Whether that's, making sure that people have access to coats, gloves, even shoes. Sometimes people are arriving in flip-flops.
But long-term solutions are desperately needed. One mother of two from Venezuela who asked that we protect her identity says Tuesday's cold has been okay, but living like this is not what she expected.
We don't have friends or family here that can give us shelter, but my dream of coming here is for my children, to grow up here, to be good in school, and to be professionals.
Y'all putting two and two together yet? I'm going to be reading the super chat shortly. Are y'all putting two and two together here? Listen, most of these people don't even speak English. They have warming buses out here. First day of the major snow went off in Chicago yesterday, and it's bad out there. Don't worry, I'm going to show you just how bad it is.
Opportunities we don't have in my country.
As she holds out hope for spots to open in a shelter.
How to learn to deal with our cold is a problem.
Dr. Jeffrey Copen of Northwestern Medicine says it's important that migrants are taught how to protect themselves amid this shift in the weather.
So if you see somebody who's new to our weather, teach them what to do, right? Share with them the experience so we all can get through this winter weather together.
Warming buses will be dispatched to various police districts on cold nights between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m.
Let me show you what's really happening out here in these streets of Chicago, all right?
Hello, people. This is Friendship Pearson. Monday. No, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. The first snow.
This is literally yesterday. The first snow, the first big snow in Chicago this year. This is yesterday. See, Anton be doing the legwork for y'all so y'all don't have to do it for yourself. Let's continue.
Of a migrant winter. Unbelievable.
This is courtesy of Francott Pearson. Francott Pearson. Shout out to Francott Pearson for providing us with this footage.
Unbelievable here in Chicago. Let's take a walk. You're living out here. You see the baby strollers? Look at that, baby stroller. They have developed a camp city. Right next door.
Somebody said, does the host have kids? I have a child that I take care of, that I'm very intentional about how many kids that I have in order to be able to allocate as many resources as possible over to them. Absolutely.
Less than a block from my house. Yeah, look at this. They're going to experience a winter. Look at this. All migrants. Now they got a place to stay, but they choose to stay out here. I said they got a place to stay. They could easily go inside the church, but they don't. They don't. They have put out about 15 tents out here.
Hey, somebody, don't worry about it. Let me handle it real quick. Give me a second. All right, let's continue.
Got garbage cans for them. Everything. Look at that. Icicles. Everything. This is their first winter. This is their first winter. This is their first winter. It's going to be hell if they don't get inside. Can you imagine having the kids outside in this stuff every day? This is child abuse, don't you think? This is child abuse. You can see them there. See the people walking in the center there?
Here's my question, because it's getting worse and worse. Let me just play this. Give me a second. Let me speak my talk. As you watch this video, and anybody that's ever been to the Midwest, whether you was in Chicago, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, so on and so forth, Minnesota, Minneapolis, it's so cold up there. Let me tell you something. I went over to the Twin Cities. Their downtown, every building is connected to where you don't have to walk outside. That's how cold it get over there in Minneapolis. Denver, Colorado, all of these sanctuary cities, New York. What made y'all think that this was actually going to be a good idea? From a human perspective, what made y'all think that this was going to be a good idea? You're going to learn today, though. See, this ain't California. Most homeless people that headed over to California is not from California. You know why? You know why they head over there? Because the weather is nicer. And it's much easier for them to be able to survive. Let me tell you something, man. They don't call it the Windy City for no reason. It get bad out there. I'm talking about, listen, one of the ways that we caught Jussie Smollett. The reason that we knew immediately when y'all was reporting on it and all the black people got behind him and he was trying to ruin his sister's career is because when he said that he got attacked, it just so happened to be the coldest day and it was like negative degrees out there in downtown Chicago. Negative. Wind chill, crazy. See, us in the Midwest, we understand that a little bit differently. We don't just go by the weather and say, oh man, look at our app. Oh gosh, it's going to be 3 degrees today. No, when my mama used to send me outside bundled up and I had to catch the bus on the way to school in the high school, all the way downtown, she said, listen, Anton, it's going to be 10 degrees. And see, it ain't like it is now. In the 90s, school was open. It had to be snowmageddon out there for the schools to close. In the 90s, it was a little bit different, right? Because they kept them schools open. And she bundled you up. She said, Anton, it's 10 degrees, but it's negative 15 with the wind chill. I'm going to read the super chat shortly. She said it's 10 degrees, but it's negative 15 with the wind chill. They don't call it the Windy City for no reason. It's going to get bad. It's going to get bad out here in these streets. And you know what's going to keep them warm? See, this is a lose-lose situation for everybody because not only are the migrants going to be out here unexpectedly getting they strollers snowed on and they tents is collapsing under the snow because this is just light. This is just the beginning, right? The people are going to have to continue to back up. And see, it's not just the people of Chicago. Did you know that they just announced new property tax updates in which they're raising y'all property taxes over there in Chicago? Did y'all know that they're spending upwards of over $30 million a month and they're still busing migrants in every day? They still building and leasing out new stuff. They're allocating all of the money that they were supposed to allocate to the police, to the infrastructure updates in order to make sure that they got y'all jobs, to y'all safety, in order to make sure that they lowered the property taxes so that y'all can then have a better, safer, more effective place for you and your kids to be raised in and walk around in. They didn't do that. They allocated it for this. But then they said that not only are we going to spend the city's money and we're going to be over budget on that, we're also going to petition the federal government, which then affects all of us. So we all have a vested interest. They said, Anton, why you keep reporting on Chicago? Because y'all tax dollars keep going into it, and mine too. As one city goes, the rest of the United States go. And unfortunately, these people also have an opportunity to be able to vote in our national elections for who our presidents are going to be so that they can petition them to continue to send them funds to take care of people that's not supposed to be here in the first place because our borders were supposed to be closed off, which Trump advocated for in the very beginning, and y'all advocated against them. See how this goes all the way back? And it's all based off of your mindset. We said close off the borders. Spend the money in order to give it over into border security and border patrol and homeland security and make sure y'all secure our borders. Let's spend the money up front investing and making sure that we protect Americans first. And y'all said, no, skip that. We don't want to spend a bunch. Okay, now you're spending billions of dollars, way more than you would have spent in order to continue to build the wall. And we petitioning the federal government to go over there and spend money, and they still building the wall anyway. Biden backtracked on everything that he said, and he said, listen, it's not another ounce of border wall that's going to be built during my administration. And they building it anyway. And now they got to spend money on continuing to keep these people warm, clothed. They got to make sure that they give them health care coverage. They're going to give them all of the benefits that y'all been working for. They're giving them Obamacare, Medicare, Anton care, all of the care. They building the wall anyway. They spending the money anyway. They giving it to Homeland Security. They doing all of the things that they said that they wouldn't do, that they didn't have the budget for, but they doing it anyway, and they still allocating more of your money in order for them to be able to be built up so that they can replace you, according to what the last guy said. So how does this work? How does this work? How does this work? Send that to me, Aaron Woe. I'm going to read the super chat shortly. How is this working for us as a community? How is it working for us as a country? Because no one person can be spared from. See, that's the thing that y'all don't understand. When I talk to the guys and I say, listen, stop simping out because it's actually hurting everybody, even though it may not be hurting me individually. Nobody is going to be spared from the wrath that comes along with the bad decisions of the people that you are then invested in, as far as whether it be your country, your household, your community, your city, all across the board. As one place goes, the rest goes. So we all have to have a vested interest in what's going on in that particular part of the country, even though you may not necessarily move there. Oh, you don't hear me, though. You don't hear me, though. You thought that you could escape it, but you can't. It's happening in Denver. It's happening in Chicago. Still happening in New York. Atlanta became a sanctuary city right along with all of the rest of them. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Coming to a city near you. We gonna get there. Let me read some of these super chats in the week, because I told y'all we was gonna be cooking up today. I warned y'all that in the beginning of the month, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.